Hey there, TigerShark here again with Okano. For this week I played a game called Cards of Eternity, The Wheel of Time. If you don't know, The Wheel of Time is a book series. I finished it not too long ago and I have very mixed feelings about it. I started to adapt it into a show on Amazon, and let's just say I don't have the time or desire to get into that right now. Anyway, the game is a deck builder battle game. I'll just say right off the bat, it's always a bit ambitious for a smaller company or an indie developer to try to make a multiplayer game. You're really relying on having a dedicated player base to keep the game alive, and if your players drop off, new players won't even be able to play the game. The indie space maybe isn't the most ideal for this type of game. That being said, Aether Games is probably relying on the brand recognition of the Wheel of Time. That may or may not be enough if the game isn't bad. So much like the books the game is based off of, I have very mixed feelings on the game. I like deck builders, or some of them at least. This one is okay. Just one of my first thoughts is that the game doesn't feel like the Wheel of Time. Take away the brand and change the character names and it wouldn't feel any different. Nothing about the gameplay really meshes with the series. I'll admit the artwork on the cards is incredible, whoever did that part did an amazing job, but take that away and honestly just feels like any other random mobile card game, especially with all the currencies in the shop. There's nothing really that makes this one stand out from any other one that I've tried. The gameplay is just okay. After the tutorial, I jumped right into a ranked match. I actually connected to someone, so there are people playing the game. First impressions from that particular match, the music was repetitive and it annoyed me after a while. Some of the cards are super annoying to deal with. My opponent put down a card with both the Twilight Cloak ability and the Plague ability early on. Twilight Cloak makes it so I literally can't attack that card unless I have a card with the Reveal ability, which I did have in my deck somewhere, but I literally never drew it. And the Plague ability makes it so that anytime my cards attack, they take damage. So since I couldn't get that card off the field, I had to deal with it for the entire 20-minute match. Which led me to a very slow loss where I eventually surrendered. I know that might seem like I'm just bitter or nitpicking, but if the opponent can play a single card at the beginning of the match that literally counters my whole deck, then how is that even a little bit fair? Yes, there are cards that deal with it, but I never got lucky enough to draw them. Just imagine if they weren't in my deck at all. So I have two other thoughts to mention about my time in that match. The tutorial was fine, but when I got into the real match, I found that there was too much information on the screen. Some of the opponent's cards had so many tooltips to read, and I had so little time to read them because of the timed rounds. I had to figure out what their cards were doing and what mine were doing in a small amount of time. I'm a fast reader and I had trouble. My wife reads a lot slower than me, so she would have been way more overwhelmed. And then there were some things that were not explained. For example, the adventurer that you choose can attack sometimes, but for whatever reason, sometimes they can't. And I could never figure out why or why not. There was no indication on screen. The only way for me to know was to try, and the tutorial didn't explain that. I know the game is in early access and it's free right now, but I have to give my honest opinions. I think this game is a miss for me. Maybe I'll come back to it when it's out of early access, but for right now I just can't see myself playing it. It's not necessarily a bad game, it's just not particularly good either. I did play a casual match after the ranked one. I won, but I realized that I just didn't really have fun, and it wasn't very satisfying. For games like this, it just seems a little odd for the developer to choose to make a game based off of an IP like the Wheel of Time. I realize that they're using the Wheel of Time for brand recognition, which will get them more players probably. But as I said in the beginning, it just didn't feel like it had any real connection to the Wheel of Time itself. The cards and the characters just kinda did random things, and the way the whole game functioned, it just didn't really feel right to me. I don't know what else to say about that. I don't know, try it for yourself if you want. I'll leave the link to the Steam page and the Gamejolt page in the description. That's all for this one, and as always, I hope you have a spectacular day. I have other channels and projects that I would love for you to check out. I have a second channel called Drawing with TigerShark, where I illustrate movies I haven't seen based on the Wikipedia description. I have an EP on Spotify called 5,555 Miles as my one-man band called Power Mouse. And finally, I have a clothing brand called Studio Duck Apparel featuring original artwork that I create myself. The links to these things will all be in the description.